So, sounds like somebody's about to get up close and personal with some cells, huh? Getting ready for a quiz, I bet.
Always an exciting time.
Well, get ready to dive deep into the world of animal cells, because that's what we're doing today. And not just the basic stuff, we're talking the inner workings, the stuff that makes life tick.
That's right. You know how you always hear cells are the building blocks of life?
Yeah. Well, they're not just like simple bricks. They're more like intricate little factories, each with its own departments, all working together. It's pretty amazing.
I like that. And your source material actually mentions a grocery store analogy to kind of get this point across. But I think we might be going above and beyond stocking shelves today. Definitely, definitely. We're talking about a whole system. Like every cell needs security, right? That's where the cell membrane comes in. This membrane is what we call selectively permeable, meaning it decides who gets in and who stays out. Kind of like a nightclub bouncer, only letting in the molecules with the right stuff.
Ooh, I like that visual. Much more exciting than a grocery store door, that's for sure. Now, speaking of exciting, this source material also mentions a video about viruses attacking cells.
Ooh, that's a good one. Talk about high stakes.
Right. But before we get there, I think we've got to back up a bit. Let's talk about the command center of the cell, the nucleus.
Absolutely. That's where you'll find the DNA blueprints, calling all the shots, directing everything that happens in the cell. Imagine it like a library. But instead of books, it's got all the instructions for making, well, you.
Wow. And speaking of making you, we got to talk about protein synthesis,
It's the
right?
heart of it all.
And for that, your source material mentions these ribosomes. They're on the list of 9 key organelles we got to cover, so let's hear it. Ribosomes. Tell us more.
Ribosomes, they're like the construction workers of the cell. They read those DNA blueprints and get to work building proteins based on those instructions. Think tiny 3D printers just churning out these essential little molecules nonstop.
So we've got the blueprints in the nucleus, the ribosomes cranking out proteins, but where do these proteins go once they're built? They're not just floating around aimlessly, are they?
Not at all. That's where our good friend, the endoplasmic reticulum, or ER for short, comes in. This is like the cell's very own highway system. Well, more like a network of roads and pathways.
So the ER is the transportation system, keeping things moving. I can dig it.
Right. And just like a transportation system, you've got different types of vehicles, right? Well, the ER has 2 main types, rough ER and smooth ER. The rough ER, that's the protein production central. It's covered in ribosomes working away. Then you've got the smooth ER. It's more into lipid synthesis and detoxification. Keeps things running clean.
So the smooth ER is like the detox center.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Super important for a healthy cell. But now, picture this. You've got proteins and lipids being made, but they need to get where they need to go, right? They need to be sorted, packaged, shipped. That's a job in itself.
And I have a feeling I know who takes care of that. Is it the Golgi body?
You got it. The Golgi body is like the cell's post office, receiving, processing, shipping. It's all about making sure everything is packaged up and delivered right where it needs to be.
Man, this is amazing. We're basically touring a microscopic city here. We've got construction, transportation, a post office. What about waste management? You know those cells got to have some garbage.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what they say? Efficient waste disposal is key. That's where lysosomes come in. They're like the garbage collectors and recycling centers all rolled into one.
Lysosomes, right. Those were on my list from the source material. They break down all that cellular waste, don't they?
You know it. Powerful enzymes in those lysosomes, they can break down just about anything. This keeps the cell clean, functional, and ready for action. Honestly, they're the unsung heroes of the cell, just quietly taking care of business.
It's like what we saw in that video you mentioned with the viruses. They're like little microscopic ninjas trying to sneak in and wreak havoc.
Right. And remember that cell membrane we talked about? It's the first line of defense against those sneaky viruses.
So it's like the cell's very own city wall, keeping the bad guys out. And I guess the lysosomes are like the sanitation workers, cleaning up any mess that gets through.
Now you're getting it. But a good city needs more than just walls and sanitation, right? It needs power.
Energy. Which brings us to another VIP on our organelle list, mitochondria, the powerhouses of the cell. Gotta love them.
You got it. They're the energy factories, working around the clock to convert nutrients into ATP. That's the cell's energy currency.
So like when I'm working out, I can thank my mitochondria for keeping me going.
You bet. Every single cell in your body relies on those little powerhouses. Muscle contraction, nerve impulses, you name it, mitochondria are fueling it.
Wow, that's crazy. It's like having billions of tiny batteries inside me. But where does the cell store all that energy and all the other important stuff it needs? It's got to have some kind of storage system, right?
Don't forget about vacuoles. They're like the storage warehouses of the cell, holding water, nutrients, even waste sometimes, until the cell needs them.
Right. Vacuoles. Those were on the list in my source material too. And it mentioned that plant cells and animal cells, they have some differences. Does that have to do with vacuoles?
Good catch. One of the big differences is actually the size of the role of the vacuole. In plant cells, you've got this large central vacuole that takes up a lot of space. It helps maintain something called turgor pressure, basically. It's like a water balloon, helping the plant cells stay rigid.
So that's why a droopy plant perks up after you water it. It's all about filling those vacuoles back up.
Exactly. Now, animal cells, they have vacuoles too, but they're usually smaller and there's more of them. They're more involved in storage and moving things around, not so much the structural support.
That's so cool. It's amazing how you can have these two types of cells with the same basic parts, but with these variations that let
Yeah.
them do totally different things. It's like having the same Lego bricks, but building totally different structures with them.
Great
Huh.
analogy. And speaking of different functions, remember that video we were talking about with the viruses?
Mhm.
Well, that's a perfect example of why understanding cell biology and all those organelles we're talking about is so important.
Right, because viruses, they're basically just these little packages of genetic material. They can't actually replicate themselves. They need to hijack a host cell to make copies.
Exactly. It's like a hostile takeover.
Mhm.
The video probably shows how a virus attaches to the cell, usually targeting specific receptors on the cell membrane. Think of it like a key fitting into a lock.
And then it sneaks in, like a little Trojan horse.
You got it. Once it's in, it releases its genetic material, and that's where the real trouble starts. It takes over the host cell's ribosomes, those protein-making machines, and forces them to start making viral proteins instead.
No way. So the cell becomes a virus factory, just churning out more and more copies.
That's exactly what happens. It's actually a pretty amazing example of how interconnected everything is in biology, but also kind of creepy when you think about it.
Definitely. This deep dive has given me a whole new appreciation for how complex life is, even at the smallest level. And it really seems like understanding those basic building blocks is crucial for getting more complex things, like how viruses work or how our own bodies function.
Absolutely. It's like learning the alphabet before you can read. You got to start with the basics, those individual letters, then you can understand words, sentences, even whole stories.
So, for our listener out there who's studying for their quiz, they're not just memorizing a bunch of facts, they're setting themselves up to understand the whole story of biology.
That's what it's all about. And this is really just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to discover. Like, did you know scientists are actually engineering cells to do specific tasks now?
Hmm.
Like making biofuels or delivering medicine.
Whoa, seriously? That's incredible.
It's true.
Yeah.
And that's what makes science so exciting. Every time we discover something, it opens up a million new questions.
All right, well, I think we've given our listener plenty to think about for now. They're definitely ready to is that quiz.
For sure. And remember, the biggest takeaway is this: never stop being curious.
It's really mind-blowing. And, your source material, it actually mentions several different body systems, like the digestive system, skeletal system, circulatory system, and all of those are made up of specialized cells.
Right, like a perfectly coordinated team.
Exactly. So even though we've been talking about animal cells in general, obviously, the cells in your heart muscle are doing very different things from, say, the cells in your stomach.
Totally. Like you were saying, specialized teams. Your muscle cells, they're all about energy. They need tons of it to keep you moving. They're going to be packed with mitochondria, those little powerhouses we talked about. But then you look at the cells lining your digestive system, they're going to need more ER and Golgi bodies, all set up to make and transport those digestive enzymes.
So it's like different departments in our little cellular city, construction workers, chefs, sanitation, each with their own tools and skills.
And just like any city, it only works if everyone's doing their part, right? A healthy body needs all those specialized cells working together.
This has been incredible. I feel like I've got a whole new understanding of how complex life is, even just at the cellular level. And it really seems like you got to understand these basics if you want to get the more complicated stuff, like how viruses work or how different parts of our body function.
It's the foundation for everything. Like, you can't build a skyscraper without a strong base, right?
Exactly. So, for our listener who's getting ready for their quiz, they're not just memorizing facts. They're laying the groundwork for a lifetime of understanding this amazing subject.
And trust me, this is just the beginning. The more you learn about cells, the more you realize how much more there is to learn. Like, did you know scientists are actually building cells now? engineering them to do specific jobs, like producing fuel or delivering medicine.
Whoa, are you serious? That's like next level stuff.
It's the future. And it all starts with understanding the basics, those fundamental building blocks of life.
Well, on that note, I think we've given our listener a lot to digest today. They're definitely prepped to ace that quiz and keep exploring.
Absolutely. The world of cells is waiting.